surge in high-value mergers and acquisitions is keeping dealmakers glued to their screens through the holiday season, defying the usual year-end slowdown. More than $460 billion in deals have been announced this month, driven by aggressive corporate strategies, private equity appetites, and improving market confidence. At the center is a bidding war for Warner Brothers Discovery involving Paramount, Skydance, and Netflix, highlighting intense competition for scale and premium content in the media sector. Bankers and legal advisors say companies are racing to close transactions before year-end and line up advisors for 2026. While the pace signals optimism, analysts warn of valuation risk and regulatory scrutiny as consolidation accelerates. We have joining us now Oluseye Abogunrin, Associate Trudo Legal. He is an intellectual property and entertainment lawyer. Thank you for your time.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me here. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah, I wish you same to you and yours. But let's focus on the business that's going on beyond this, the scene, behind the scene, and that is garnering a lot of attention, even through the festivities, particularly this deal with Warner Brothers, this bid for ownership of Warner Brothers, Netflix, and Paramount, in between. What do you think is so significant about this transaction that is garnering so much attention at this time?
Well, so we're talking about Warner Bros. Here, and Warner Bros. Is a multi-billion-dollar company. I think it's been valued to worth about $73 billion. So, I mean, that's a huge company to merge with or to invest in at all. Secondly, Warner Bros. Owns one of the prominent IPs in the world, in the film industry. We are talking about the likes of the DC Comics. We're talking about Harry Potter, The Lord of the Rings, and so many amazing movies. So obviously, this is a huge hit for either of the companies to merge with. If this happens, this is going to help these companies to scale their businesses and get better with their dealings. Yeah, so I think that's one of the reasons why this is a big opportunity for either of the companies. We're talking about premium IP, global streaming assets. Whoever wins would, secure content domination, definitely. Subscriber growth, these are the things that will definitely happen when either of the companies, successfully wins the bid.
Yeah, definitely a hot deal, and considering the global influence they have, as you have pointed out. So the race is on, and we've seen one side adjust or, raise the stakes. Paramount, they revised their $108.4 billion offer. Does that address concerns about financing, and is it enough to sway shareholders to it, or what, especially with what Netflix is offering?
Thank you for that question. So I think what we have to look at and what will really sway anyone here are the issues like regulatory concerns, the structure presented by either of the parties. So the way the FTC, that's Trade Commission, and then the Department of Justice in the US is structured is such that you have to notify them, present your structures, present what you intend to do, and this will lead us to talking about antitrust issues, anti-competition issues, and these are the real issues that these regulatory bodies will look at. So yes, Paramount has offered a high price, headline price, to say, but this doesn't really have effect. It doesn't sway shareholders, because take for instance, Netflix is offering a cleaner financial structure. And what I mean by that is that they are presenting a marriage of cash and stocks, to Warner Brothers compared to Paramount, who has just offered the headline price. So I think that what the shareholders will look at is the regulatory concerns, how they're going to surmount, those hiccups or those issues. So I think the headline price will not necessarily sway the shareholders. I think they will be more concerned about the security of the investment. They will be more concerned about the regulatory concerns and how either of the parties has presented a cleaner structure, a cleaner financing structure to scale and make this merger happen.
So you're saying the priority is not the numbers, right? So Netflix, their offer value is way lower, right? And we are seeing the board still recommend it over Paramount's bid. From what you're saying, the numbers is not the priority, is not the stronger appeal. But you've brought up the issue of regulatory concerns. What are some of these concerns around regulations or regulators?
Right. So to start with, these are business decisions, right? And every businessman would consider the chances of return on investments. Those are the things they would actually focus on. And to talk about the regulatory concerns, Netflix now is offering a structure that excludes cable TV networks that Warner owns, right? While Paramount is, gunning for everything. And what this would cause is that you have issues of antitrust issues, monopolies, issues. So in the sense that if, for example, Netflix succeeds with this bid, Netflix is definitely going to be, if not the major, popular film studios, or because Netflix is even a subscribing video on demand platform. It means that according to certain reports, you are going to be controlling about 43% of that's industry. I mean, the subscribing video on demand, industry. Yes, they have laid claims to say, they are trying to, compete and create a fair competing environment with YouTube. They say YouTube is, the dominant streaming video on demand platform. But then we can't certainly say this is true, right? Because YouTube is ad-based, ad content-based, right? Advertisement content-based, while Netflix is more of streaming, is more of on-demand, video on demand. So you can't really say they're on the same pedestal. So these are one of the issues, that the regulatory bodies will look at. And for Paramount is, gunning for the entire assets of Warner Bros., including TV cable networks like the TNT, CNN, and the likes. And these are big issues. Imagine if Paramount controls these IP assets. It appears to be an unfair, power holding. And I'm sure the FCC and the DOJ, Department of Justice in the US, will not allow that. Because they. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're going to dive deeper into it and I think actually come back to the numbers because billionaire Larry Ellison is adding a sweetener and is raising the stakes even further on the side of Paramount. I will get into that in just a moment after this break. Do stay with us. All right, it's a high-profile tug-of-war for Warner Brothers Discovery between Netflix and Paramount. We've had intellectual property and entertainment lawyer Oluseye Abogunrin join us and provide some perspective. Thank you for staying with us. And we know that you have highlighted some of the priorities during this period. While the two bids are being considered, is a cleaner financial structure. And to counter claims that the company, that is Paramount's funding, was unreliable, we've had Larry Ellison. He has brought forward a $40.4 billion personal guarantee play to strengthen Paramount's position. Do you think this tips the scale a little bit further in Paramount's favor?
Well, it sure does. I think it will strengthen Paramount's bid materially. It will signal some level of seriousness. It will mean that Paramount is serious and, they really want this deal to happen, But I don't think that would still in any way mitigate the regulatory concerns, that the board, that the Warner Brothers board has raised. I don't think it will still. So there are still issues about a cleaner financing structure, which shareholders would naturally tilt towards. Even if Paramount increases their bid to whatever figure, I think they will still need about 90% of the shareholders to still, vote in their favor. So yeah, the guarantee by Larry Ellison is great. It's going to strengthen Paramount's bid, but I don't think it will really create any change. Investors and the board would, be interested in what we allow them have return on investment, and then which of the bids is will scale through the regulatory bodies and concerns. So I think this is what will happen. Yes, it has strengthened Paramount's bid, but materially, I don't think it will translate into winning the bid.
Okay. And we know that another consideration would be antitrust. So how does antitrust concerns, how do you see that impacting the likelihood of either deal getting approved, and what are the risks?
So, like I mentioned before, if this happens, Netflix will be controlling about 43% of SVODs. That's the subscribing video on demand platforms, and that is huge. That is really, really huge. And for Paramount, if this succeeds, if this happens, I think Paramount would be a major power player in terms of owning some of the top film studios, we have in the world. We're talking about the likes of Warner Bros. Pictures, the DC studios, So there are antitrust issues, and concerns. And I also think that the EU Commission will also weigh in on this, because these are companies that have entities, they have subsidiaries all over the world in the European Union, and even some other regulatory, international regulatory bodies would have to sway in and, have a role to play, because it's going to be huge. 43% of subscribing video on demand platform holding is huge, it's humongous, and I don't think that's the DOJ or the FTC now is going to allow that to happen. So these are the concerns that would come to play here.
And we also have, I think, someone echoing what you have said, Harris Oakman. He says the amended Paramount offer is not sufficient. How do investors like Harris Oakman view the revised offer, and what would make them reconsider?
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Can you come again?
So there's a prominent voice, right, within the space, Harris Oakmark. He says that the amended Paramount offer is not sufficient. It's not enough. So how do voices like investor Harris Oakmark, how do they view the revised offer? What does their voice in this situation mean for ongoing considerations? And what would you think would make investors like Harris Oakmark and the board itself consider either of the deals?
Oh, great. So I think what Harris Oakman has said concerning this issue is prominent, is very important, because I think it will favor the Warner Bros. If there is certainty regarding the financial structure or the bid, that Netflix has proposed. It will favor Warner Bros. Compared to what Paramount has, presented. So Harris has basically said that there is uncertainty with what Paramount has provided or has offered. The tender is uncertain. The financing structure is unclear, and there are also regulatory concerns, some of which I have mentioned. The issue of the cable TV networks, the implications of that. So I think what Harris has said, Harris has just bros basically said Paramount has not presented a clear or a clean financing structure in this bid. It doesn't even matter if they increase the numbers. It doesn't matter. I think they need to go back, and thankfully, I think the tender has been extended till 21st of January now. So I think that they can go back, to their boats and then find a more sweeter structure and present to Warner Bros. That's my take on it.
Okay, let's see how that pans out. Of course, Harris is the fifth largest shareholder, right, and owns 96 million shares. So his voice and his how he sees the bid is also quite significant there. Now, I mean, let's finally come to outcomes, right? If it goes either way, either to Netflix or Paramount, what are our expectations? How will things pan out for Warner Brothers and the consumers?
Yes, so I think one of the things that will happen for Netflix now would be that subscriber growth would happen, because everyone wants a platform where they can see all these classics, all these legacy movies, The Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. So if Netflix succeeds, it will be, they would experience subscriber growth. I think that will happen. I think that will definitely happen. With Warner Bros., they have claimed that they are trying to preserve historical studios, trying to preserve the legacies of those studios are preserved. Basically, that's their ideology going into this merger, and I think these are the things that would happen. We would experience preservation of those studios if Paramount succeeds. For Netflix, basically, they will experience subscriber growth, and some have even predicted that probably the subscription fees would be reduced. And then global reach, there will be a wider and global reach, because we know Netflix is prominent, they have their tentacles across continents, and I think we would also experience that.
Well, what would influence subscription fee reduction?
Yes, so the argument has been that because now Netflix would of course, acquire, those movies, and, it will not be right for, them to just sit on those movies and then decide however, viewers, the subscribers can pay, how much subscribers can pay. It is believed that the regulatory bodies like the FTC would come in and then put certain conditions, and probably provide a benchmark or just an environment which will force Netflix to reduce the subscription fees. So that's the argument. The argument is that the conditions that will be presented by the DOJ and the FTC would force Netflix to reduce the subscription fees, and so
okay, it's interesting. Yeah. I think it's interesting to see the role of the regulator here. And you've said that 21st of January, we should know what's happening. A decision will be made.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we'll be tracking all of that even through the holidays with the offers and the counter offers and trying to the tug of war for Warner Brothers. Thank you so much for your time and perspective and the insight on this conversation. That we're keeping our eyes on even through the holidays. Oluseye Abogunrin, the associate at Trudo Legal. Thank you for your time.